God, I wish I had a cat snuggled in my lap right now. This blanket will have to do. Hi friends. A couple weeks ago, I did a wardrobe declutter and sorted many flawed items from my closet into a DIY/mend/upcycle pile. Then last week, I received a thrifted mystery bundle of absolute gems, but some of those also needed to be altered. Oh, and the closet clean out I did a year ago? Yes, I still had some items I put in a mend pile a year ago and never actually fixed. So this week, I took it upon myself to DIY as many items on my thrift flip/mend list as I possibly could. And now I'm taking you all along with me on that journey. And you know what? It was lovely, it was cozy, it was fun, but it was also successful to a degree that is unprecedented in Beep World. We're talking upwards of 15 pieces DIY'd. So let's get into it. Obviously, like I just mentioned, I have a lot to keep track of here, many different pieces and different types of projects. So first I had to plan and organize it all. And I'm using today's sponsor Milanote to do it because it is just the perfect tool to organize a big creative project with lots of different moving parts. I've been using Milanote myself since before ever working with them because I just think it's a great tool and you can get started for free. So let's dive into my project board. First, I just made a checklist of all the different projects I'm hoping to work on to sort of organize them by like type of projects, which ones would make sense to do at the same time. I have 3 different categories: simple sewing, sewing plus, which is more complex sewing or sewing that also involves something else, and then other, which includes dyeing fabric, shoe repair, etc. I also made a list of supplies I would need, most of which I already had, but then I was also able to make a little shopping list of the things I needed. Then over here, we have a little sub list of even more mending projects that my wardrobe would benefit from. These are like less urgent, so I wanted them out of the way so I wouldn't get overwhelmed, but this way I still have them written down and organized all together for when I do want to get to these. Now back to the main board. Off to this side, we have the fun part, some visual inspo. I just dragged and dropped these photos from Pinterest. These are just ideas of what kinds of buttons I might want to use on a jacket. And then on here, we have ideas for sort of remixing this giant DIY scrunchie I made to adjust the color palette, which I used the very handy color swatch tool to visualize. Then on the other side of this project board, I added photos of all the pieces I have in my checklist, which I think helped me visualize these projects and exactly what needed to be done to each of them so much more easily. And I can even draw on the photos in here to mark what I need to do to each of them, like cropping some sleeves, hemming some pants, adding buttons, what have you. Milanote has even more features that I didn't even touch on here, like sharing a board with collaborators, adding a live map, accessing your board from your phone. I actually did do that a lot while working on this project. I've used Milanote for so many projects, from other clothing and sewing DIYs to literally planning a vacation, and it has truly never failed me. Milanote is free to try with no time limit, so highly recommend signing up for a free Milanote account through the link in the description. And thank you so much to Milanote for making this video possible. Hello friends, today is day 1 of my wardrobe mending marathon. So I'm gonna try to start with the easiest, simplest, quickest, straightforward sewing projects. And the first one is this top. I actually didn't even have this in the mend pile from my closet clean out, but I mentioned in that video that the sleeves were kind of annoyingly short and a little tight. And I had a couple people in the comments, you genius viewers, suggest just cropping the sleeves to elbow length, which I think is perfect. I really like shirts with elbow length sleeves, and I think it'll fit much better that way. So I'm so excited to try this out. Got my fabric scissors. I already tried on the shirt and marked with chalk where I wanted to cut the sleeves, and then we'll see if it even needs a little hem or if it's good as is. Next up, we also have some hemming to do with a dress and some pants and a hole to mend. A lot of simple mends, so let's get into it. Okay, while I do these simple mends, I want to discuss something with you all that I promise will connect back to what we're doing here. I recently saw people talking somewhere on the internet about how in the case of a true apocalypse or emergency, hoarding resources would only get you so far because eventually you're going to run out. And what you'd really need are valuable real-life skills to sustain yourself and your community. So I was thinking, do I have any apocalypse skills? I don't have great survivalist skills, I'm not particularly strong. But then I thought, Actually, sewing is pretty valuable. Clothes literally protect us from the elements, they help keep us safe, and you know, in a bleak post-apocalyptic landscape, when a kid grows out of something or your coat starts to get holes in it, you can't just go buy a new one. And honestly, this whole thought process, A, made me feel validated that I would have something to contribute in a hypothetical apocalypse, but also B, made me feel good about making and DIYing clothes in general, because clothing really is fundamental to human well-being, as much as people like to trivialize it. Not that I'm an expert sewist or anything, not even close, but I'm competent enough to make and mend clothes for myself and the people in my life, and that feels good. All that said, what I really want to ask you all is, what are your apocalypse skills? I am just so interested to know. Maybe this will give me some ideas of more skills or hobbies to cultivate, what might be handy to have in my back pocket. I don't know. I'm just curious. I'm nosy. So please share your niche emergency ready skills in the comments. Wow, I can't believe I actually accomplished 4 projects in one day, even though they were very easy and it doesn't sound like that much. Normally when I do these videos, a bunch of things always go wrong and it ends up taking me way longer than expected. So we're making great progress. And the next time I see you, we'll be working on some more exciting projects. Those will probably take longer, but it's worth it. Hi friends, it's a new day. It's time for some new mending and DIY projects. And I have much more of a cozy autumnal outfit on today, so that's how you know we mean business. We're gonna be starting today with the project that I am most excited about, replacing the buttons on this jacket. I considered so many different options for this. I was thinking like ornate, antique-y looking metal ones. I was thinking tortoiseshell, maybe wood. Then I was thinking maybe I should make my own out of clay, which sounds really fun, but realistically, I think I would wear it the most with just some like classic neutral buttons. I've also been really into toggle closures lately, something like this on jackets. And ultimately, when I was at the craft store and I was looking at all the options, these are the ones that spoke to me the most. And honestly, I'm not totally sure if toggle closures like this are gonna work great in like regular buttonholes, but we're gonna find out. Just kidding, I actually need these. So now the question is, do I want them to go this way or this way? I don't know what will work better or look better. I'm gonna have to try this on in front of the mirror. Okay, I've decided horizontal will look the best. And the good news is, if I hate it, I can just take them off and change it very easily. I gotta say, sewing things by hand makes me feel very old-timey. I feel like I should be a ghost in a rocking chair in front of a fireplace doing this. You know, maybe it's because it's Halloween season. Maybe it's because I just saw Beetlejuice 2 yesterday, but I feel like a spooky old-timey ghost right now. Did anyone else see Beetlejuice 2? What did we all think? I thought it was kind of fun, but also kind of a letdown at the same time. No one asked for movie reviews with Beep World, but this is my channel, so I can do whatever I want. Gorgeous. Beautiful. Look at that. Now I just gotta do the other 2. Okay, I'm done. And I know this doesn't look like that much, but I absolutely love the effect it has on the overall jacket. You'll see later. And now I have these little flaps with buttons on the side here. But now looking at this, I'm realizing I actually think this flap is totally removable without affecting the structural integrity of the jacket. So I'm just gonna try to take it off. The jacket's done. It made kind of an unexpectedly big difference. I'm really loving how it's looking. And now we're gonna do a couple more simple alterations on the clothes I got in my thrift mystery bundle in last week's video, which I'll link right here if you haven't seen it. These 2 skirts are both just a bit too big, so I'm gonna take them in. And then this blouse, absolutely gorgeous, but it has this little sort of modesty panel behind the clasps that makes it look weird if I were to layer it open over something. And I don't really feel the need to have that panel there if I'm wearing it closed either. So I was trying to figure out what to do about this panel. And I realized it looks like it was sewn by hand, added on by someone who didn't want that openness between the clasps, but I'm fine with that openness. So I think I'm just going to try to remove this panel, and I don't think it will affect the rest of the shirt at all. And that'll make it much more wearable for me, especially for layering. So let's remove this panel and alter these skirts. So I've been seam ripping this little panel out, and as I detached it from one place it was sewn down, I realized the other place it was sewn down is actually kind of integral to the structure of the top. So I'm not going to remove the whole thing, but I have sort of inadvertently widened this flap to the point that it lines up perfectly with one of these little ruching seams. So I think what I'm actually going to do is just hand sew it down to that so that the stitches don't show through on the other side. And then hopefully that will lay flat. I hope that made sense. I feel like I just described so many boring details that may not be totally clear to you, but I hope you're still having fun being here. Honestly, sometimes I feel like I get way too bogged down in the details in DIY videos to the point that it can get a little boring. So I'm trying to loosen up a little. Maybe you can tell I've been a bit chattier in this video, and I think that takes the pressure off and makes it a little more fun for me. So I hope it's more fun for you too. Okay, I finished all those alterations on the mystery bundle items, and then I got a little ahead of myself and I went ahead and detached the waistband already from my skirt. So now the shorts and the skirt and the waistband pieces are all separated, and I can make a new skirt piece and then attach it to the shorts with the waistband. If you want to see how I originally made this, I'll put the video up here. We're just gonna do it better this time. So we're gonna see if I can get this finished today, and then I'll see you tomorrow for more projects. Hi everyone, it's the next morning. It's very early. I suddenly awoke at like 6:30 in sort of a crazed mending frenzy, and I have many updates for you. Some good news is multiple good news, and some bad news. First, good news number one, I finished redoing the skirt yesterday, and I added a little gathered tear this time, and it looks adorable. Good news number two, after that, I just sort of like got worked up in a sewing fervor, and I did like 5 other things from my secondary list of potential mending. A lot of those were left over from literally last year's closet clean out. They've been waiting to be mended for like a year, and I finally did it. Look how many things we checked off. However, here's the bad news. I fear I made this skirt slightly too short again. I don't know why this keeps happening. I could wear this. Like, it's long enough that I could wear it. I just know I probably wouldn't at this length, and we're out of this fabric. However, I have a solution in mind. My vision is to maybe just add like a thick 2-inch eyelet trim to the bottom of this to give it just a little more length. And I think it would be really cute with this. We're gonna have to go see what's available at the craft store, but that is one of my missions for today. My other missions are finally call the shoe repair place to see how I can get the heel caps on these boots replaced. The fact that I literally did like 15 other mending projects before calling someone else to help me with these shoes really speaks to how much I avoid talking to strangers on the phone. But today we're gonna do it. We're also gonna dye some stuff, and we'll see what else. But first I need some breakfast. I fear the pickings are slim to none for what I am looking for at the craft store today. Okay, update. The craft store was a bust. We might not be able to add trim to that skirt in this video. However, the good news is, while I've been out and about, I took my shoes to the shoe repair people, and they are in progress of getting the heel caps replaced. Okay, now it's time to go home and dye some stuff. Okay, I didn't really talk to the camera here because I was on the phone with my sister, but I'm just dyeing two tops I think I would wear more if they were black. One of them was beige. I previously tried to dye it black and it came out purple. The other is white and like apple green, so I'm hoping to get them both to black in this round, but we'll see. Mmm. Delicious, spooky soup. Perfect for Halloween. I feel like a little witch. Where's my cauldron? Why don't I have a cauldron? Is the real question. Mary Kate, any thoughts?
What?
Why don't I have a cauldron?
I don't know, that seems like something you should have.
I know. It does seem like something I should have. My final project was to alter this scrunchie I made because I think it's gorgeous, but the color palette is just not something I would actually wear. And in fact, I have not worn it since I made it. At first, I was just going to try to use embroidery to add more colors to it, hoping that would make it feel more well-rounded and more my style. But honestly, the more I tried to picture it, the more I realized even if I added more colors, I just wasn't going to wear it with this base color scheme. So I did the unthinkable. And I cut the scrunchie in half. More than half, really. Basically, I cut out the patches with the colors I liked best and then looked through my fabric stash for new fabrics to make new patches for a color scheme that felt more my style. And spoiler, I ended up using only one patch from the original. Honestly, it felt kind of unexpectedly heart-wrenching to cut this thing up because it was so cute and I was so proud of it. And even though I never wore it and I knew I wouldn't wear it, it's sad to destroy something you created that you're proud of. However, ultimately, once I had my vision crystallized for the new one, I knew it was the right choice. I could already picture it with so many more outfits, it goes with way more of my wardrobe, and it just felt way more me. Oh, and if you want more detail on how I actually made this, I will link the original video in the cards and the description. All right, y'all, that's that. Unbelievably, we have checked off not only every single item on the original list, but also 6 extras from the bonus list. So with that, let me show you the final results. Overall, I am incredibly happy with and proud of how much I got done in this 3-day span. I will admit a handful of these are imperfect or incomplete and may need additional work in the future, but most of them are totally finished and I will never have to return to work on them ever again, which honestly feels amazing. I truly did not realize how much these things had been weighing on me, especially some of those old items I had been avoiding working on for a year or more. It feels amazing to have those back in my closet. Some of them have been out of commission long enough that you might not even recognize them as a viewer. And if you do, you get bonus points because that means you're an OG viewer. I will say one category of DIYs here I may have to return to is these dyed pieces because once again, like last time, the black dye turned out purple, not black. I might have to try a different brand next time. That said, this color still feels way more aligned with my style, especially for fall, and I think the pattern poking through on this blouse is quite cool actually. Oh, and the other piece did dye a much darker purple this time. It almost looks black until you put it next to something that's actually black and then you can see that it's purple. But hey, no harm done, I'll keep wearing this too. After doing all this, I am a little tired out, but honestly, I am also feeling so motivated to continue going through that secondary DIY list and finally just get every single item done. So if I can muster the strength, hopefully we'll have even more DIYs coming soon. Thank you so much for joining me as I worked on all these items. I feel so accomplished and honestly, genuinely such a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I hope this helped you get some of your to-do list done or just enjoy the cozy vibes. I'd love to hear any wardrobe DIYs you've been working on lately in the comments. And I heard if you do leave a comment, watch another video, like maybe something else from this extensive DIY playlist, and subscribe, your DIY dye jobs will turn out exactly the color you want them to on the first try. This is just water, by the way.